Hello, my Spilling the Sweet Tea fam. Today I'm spilling the tea on how to make this lemon meringue pie. The first thing you want to do is blind bake your pie crust. I'm using a store-bought pie crust, but you can certainly make your own pie crust if you choose to. The first thing you want to do is use a fork and poke holes all in the pie crust. Make sure not to forget the size of the pie crust. It should look a little bit like this. Now you want to get some parchment paper as well as some dried beans. I had navy beans, so that's what I'm going to use. Cover your pie crust with your parchment paper and then add in your dried beans. If you happen to have some pie weights, you can also add those as well. Now all you want to do is bake your pie crust for about 7 to 8 minutes. Once it's baked, it should look a little bit like this. Now let's get started on our lemon meringue filling. To a large saucepan, you want to add 5 tablespoons of cornstarch to 1.5 cups of sugar, a pinch of salt, and then give everything a really good mix. You want to make sure you mix your dry ingredients on the counter, not on the stove. The next thing you want to do is juice some fresh lemons. My mom always rolled hers on the counter like this, so this is the way I do it. You're going to need 1/2 cup of fresh lemon juice. The next step is to separate the eggs. You want to separate the yolks from the egg whites. Your egg yolks are going to go into your lemon meringue custard, and your egg whites are going to be used to make your lemon meringue for the top of the pie. So all I do is crack my eggs just like this, and then I just move my egg yolk from each side of the cracked shell just like this, just so that egg white can fall into my bowl. As I said, make sure to save those egg whites because you're going to use them later. Now you want to whisk your egg yolks really well. I'm just using a wire whisk to make sure I whisk my egg yolks really well. Once your egg yolks are mixed well, the next thing you want to do is add your fresh lemon juice that you squeezed. And then you also want to add 1 3/4 cups of whole milk. Once you've added your lemon juice and your milk, you just want to whisk well until everything is nice and combined. Now that you have your milk mixture, the next thing you want to do is add that mixture into your dry ingredients. Notice I have not made it to the stove yet. You want to do all of this on your countertop. Pour your milk mixture into your dry ingredients just like this and whisk everything together until it's well incorporated. This step is very important to make sure you whisk this well before you start cooking it because you don't want it to end up lumpy. Now that everything is nice and smooth, you want to add it to your stove and you want to cook it on medium-high heat, stirring constantly. It's really important to make sure you stir this constantly because it will thicken really quickly and you don't want it to burn. So make sure you're stirring constantly until it gets nice and thick. It should take the mixture about 9 to 10 minutes to get thick. You can see here that it's starting to thicken a little bit, but you want to keep stirring until it gets a lot thicker. Because once this pie filling is done, it's not going to cook anymore and thicken up in the oven. So you want to make sure it is the consistency you want it before you put it into your pie crust. The next thing you want to do is bring your mixture to a boil and boil for 1 minute, whisking and stirring constantly. Your lemon meringue pie filling should look a little bit like this. You want to remove it from the heat and then add 3 tablespoons of butter. Once you add your butter, you want to give it a good mix until it's melted and well incorporated. You really need to come prepared to stir a lot to make this lemon meringue pie. My mother used to say all the time, you cannot sit down and cook. And this dessert, you're going to have to stand over this pot constantly to make sure your pie filling comes out correctly. To punch up the lemon flavor, you want to add 1 capful of lemon extract, and then you want to zest in 1 lemon. You're going to need about 1 teaspoon of lemon zest. Now whisk again to incorporate the lemon zest as well as the lemon extract, and your lemon meringue pie filling should look a little bit like this. Now all you need to do is spoon it into your pre-baked pie crust. This lemon meringue pie filling came out so velvety and so smooth. Definitely a 10 out of 10. The lemon extract and the lemon zest is definitely a must-have in this filling. Now smooth the pie into the pie crust and let's make the meringue. For a really tall meringue, you're going to need 6 egg whites and 1/2 teaspoon of cream of tartar. You want to beat the egg whites and the cream of tartar at a high speed with an electric mixer until it becomes just foamy. It's very important to just beat the egg whites and the cream of tartar together first. Then you want to gradually add your sugar once your mixture becomes just foamy. You need 1/2 cup of sugar, but you want to add the sugar 1 tablespoon at a time. Don't add it all at once. Trust me, because I've done this where I've added my sugar all at once and my meringue did not come out right. This is what you're looking for. Once your meringue has stiff peaks and looks a little bit like this, just add it on top of your pie. Before you make your meringue too high, you want to make sure that your meringue is covering the edges. Make sure to push your meringue out to the edges just like this. You don't want to see any gaps between the pie crust and the meringue, because if you don't, the top of the pie will not come out looking right. So make sure you cover all of those edges. Once your edges are covered, you can add more meringue on top. I like a lot of meringue, so that's why I'm using so much. But if you don't like as much, you can just do a thinner layer. Using the back of your spatula, you just want to smooth it out until it has a nice design. And I love using my spatula to make these little peaks on top. Now bake your pie on 325 degrees for 20 to 22 minutes until your meringue peaks are slightly golden brown. Once it comes out the oven, it should look just like this. Fresh out the oven, fabulous. Y'all, this lemon meringue pie turned out so good. After you take it out the oven, you want to let it completely cool on a wire rack for about 1 hour before you cut into it. Once it's cool for an hour, cut on into it, and this is what you've got. The most delicious lemon meringue pie made the old-fashioned way. This recipe was definitely a 10 out of 10. For more Southern recipes, you can go to my website, STw&x.com. You can also find on my website my e-cookbooks as well as my biscuit mixes and jam. Make sure to like and subscribe for more easy Southern recipes. You just got the tea on how to make this beautiful and delicious lemon meringue pie.